All right, let's get right into it. The world of AI coding tools is just exploding, right? And trying to figure out which one to use can honestly feel like a full-time job. But don't worry, today we are going to cut through all that noise and give you a super simple, super clear roadmap for picking the perfect tool for you. So, it really all starts with this brand new way of working that people are calling vibe coding. It's this kind of back and forth, this conversation with an AI. You're not just writing the code line by line anymore, you're guiding it. It's incredibly fast, it's super powerful, but it can also get a little chaotic. And that is exactly why picking the right tool from the get-go is so important. And let's be honest, it is so easy to feel completely overwhelmed. I mean, this quote just nails it, right? There are so many tools, and their features all seem to overlap, and you're left with no clear idea of how they all fit together. Well, that feeling, it ends today. We're going to build that mental model for you right here, right now. So here's our promise for this explainer. We are not just going to throw another top 10 list at you. No way. Instead, we're going to give you a really powerful way to think about this, a decision-making framework so you'll know exactly what you need, when you need it, and most importantly, why. Okay, your whole journey into AI-assisted coding really boils down to this one single choice. This one decision clarifies pretty much everything else. Are you going to add an AI assistant into the code editor you already know and love? Or are you going to take the leap into a brand new editor that was built for AI from the ground up? Think of it like this. A plugin? That's like hiring a world-class assistant to come work with you in your own familiar workshop. You know where everything is. But an AI-native IDE, whoa! That's like being handed the keys to a brand new futuristic workshop where the AI is literally built into the walls and every single tool you pick up. And this table just lays out the trade-offs perfectly, especially if you're just starting out. With a plugin like GitHub Copilot, you don't have to switch your IDE. The learning curve is basically zero, and you can get started instantly. But with an AI-native IDE like Cursor, yep, you have to migrate to a new editor, which means there's a bit of a learning curve. So the choice is really between instant, easy help versus a more powerful, integrated experience that takes a little more setup. So for almost every single developer just dipping their toes into AI, the answer is crystal clear. You start with a plugin. Just think of it as your own personal AI coding assistant. It's the absolute ideal entry point into this whole new world. So why is this the best first step? Well, because plugins are all about speed and keeping you in that precious flow state. You get these incredibly fast code suggestions right where you're typing without ever having to break your concentration. They work in the editors you already have years of muscle memory with, and they're just perfect for blasting through all that repetitive boilerplate code. It is, without a doubt, the easiest, simplest way to get started. And hey, if you're a junior developer, listen up. This one's for you. Start with GitHub Copilot. Seriously, it's simple, it's affordable, and most importantly, it lets you get comfortable with AI workflows without the extra stress of learning a whole new development environment at the same time. You just master one thing at a time. But, eventually, you're going to hit a wall. Your ambition is going to outgrow simple code completions. You'll want to tackle bigger, gnarlier problems. And that's when you know you're ready to level up your workflow with AI agents, which give you so much more power and control over your entire project. Okay, let's just picture this scenario. We've all been there. You need to refactor a core piece of your API that's being used in dozens, maybe hundreds of different files all across your code base. A simple plugin that can only see the one file you have open, yeah, that's going to be pretty much useless here. This is where that deep architectural difference between a plugin and a native IDE really begins to matter a lot. Now let's check out this head-to-head. Copilot's agent mode is definitely a step up, but it's still kind of limited to the files you have open in your workspace. Cursor, on the other hand, because it's an AI native IDE, it has already scanned and indexed and understood your entire codebase. This full repo awareness gives it a massive advantage in orchestrating changes across tons of files at once, which means much, much higher accuracy on those big, complex refactors. And this right here, this quote, is probably the most important takeaway of this whole section. It just illustrates the core difference so brilliantly. Copilot Agent is fantastic for automating individual tasks, but a Cursor agent, it's designed from the ground up to orchestrate architecture-level changes. One is a helpful assistant. The other is the conductor of the entire orchestra. And the payoff for graduating to a more powerful tool, it's huge. Teams who use these AI-native IDEs for big, large-scale changes are reporting that they complete them 35 to 45% faster.
Now, that's not just a small boost, okay? That is a fundamental game-changing shift in how quickly you can evolve your software.
Okay, so how do we put all this together into a strategy that you can actually use? Let's build your personal action plan, your roadmap for creating your very first AI development stack.
First things first, the most important mindset shift you gotta make is this. These tools don't actually compete with each other, they layer on top of one another. The question isn't Copilot versus Cursor, it's about knowing when to use the right tool for the right job.
So here it is, your roadmap. Step 1, start with a plugin. Go install Copilot today and just get really good at fast, inline coding. Step 2, listen for the pain. The moment you feel that friction, when you're trying to make a big change across your whole project, that's your signal. It's time to level up. And that leads to Step 3, graduate to an AI-native IDE like Cursor to handle all that heavy lifting.
And this brings us to the hybrid workflow that so many of the most productive developers are using right now. They use a plugin like Copilot in their main editor for, say, 90% of their day, for that raw speed and flow. But then, when it's time for a big, gnarly refactor, they switch over to their AI-native IDE to orchestrate all that complex work. It's truly the best of both worlds.
All of this leads to a final, really interesting thought. As these tools get better and better at handling the how of writing code, what does our job as developers become? Well, our focus shifts. It moves up a level. We go from writing lines of code to defining problems, designing elegant systems, and acting as the strategic architects for these incredibly powerful AI agents. And honestly, that is a very exciting future to be a part of.